Fly carefully, Commander.
Buckle up. It's time for science.
I missed the whole...
Never forget to feed your SRV. They get hungry too. After all, science is busy work. Previously, we found that force shells apply a force to landed ships that is never removed.
Might have lived there.
Number one, just to settle for the deranged, we continued our research.
157.
Oh boy.
Indeed, the kind of weapon, the kind of ammunition, and the mass of the ship, including its modules, all appeared to influence the outcomes of the Great Pissing. Arming oneself with this knowledge was like first opening the Bible and discovering the Holy Gospel. The whole world laid before you, a world of majesty and science.
You are not authorized to be in this area.
Saddle up in the goon yacht. Straddle up.
Speed restrictions are in effect at this facility. Please comply. You are not authorized.
Science.
JD is currently contemplating whether this is truly worth what remains of her Vegemite stocks or not.
Surely basic problems won't leave us pouted. But as a wise man once said to me, hand in hand with a smile of ecstasy.
I didn't even see the acceleration. The game just crashed!
Explain this behavior! Previously, using a mostly stock Kestrel, we were able to achieve around 250-kilometer height. With a stripped-down hauler, that height was at least doubled, and without very much effort. Armed with this power, the next course of action was obvious. Oftentimes, followers of the Holy Word will undergo pilgrimages to holy lands. And indeed, we had hoped to accomplish the same. But such pilgrimages aren't for the faint of heart. They can be challenging and dangerous. To prove one's faith, you must prove one's mettle.
One lick and my head is then spinning.
Oh, wait a second. That's not piss. That's obviously...
I'd do anything for Jesus.
Then you have the haulers while you traveled 600 light years. But you brought the same blood dolls we had next door. Guess I'll pay this markup through my tears.
The eagle has landed.
What's that?
Camera.
Your ship bumped someone.
I am jostling and jiving inside the crib.
Here we go.
Nothing happened.
Well, that was disappointing.
Why does everyone's face look like an eldritch horror? Why does my fighter keep suicide diving my rear? Yeah, I'm streaming as a big boob at half gear. All these license checks have me living in fear.
Why is it underground?
Beyond the void, centuries of fighting the pirate fungal infection at play. Evolution is a lie, peddled by eagle manes. But the real horror is within the interstellar.
Into JD's arms I go.
The more we pursued science, the more a divine revelation was blessed upon us, and we experienced visions of the Holy Realm.
Oh, that was expected.
Did you die? Oh, yeah, you died. You both died.
What the hell?
Lady's camera is on an angle and she's stuck.
JD, where are you? Dude, I went down to JD's signal on the planet and her distance never changed. I almost flew into the ground, and it still says she's 200 kilometers when she's right next to me, but it's nowhere near where the craters were. Her indicator is in the ground, but I don't know if she's actually there or not. This game is truly demented. So not only did operations tend to lock you in an eternal screen you couldn't get out of, and if you attempted to reconnect, you couldn't. You killed me? But we also managed to crash the game on several occasions. That's interesting. And we managed to trap JD in a hyper-advanced version of Australian disease, where no one could kill her, she couldn't move, and she technically did not exist until her suit's power finally ran out. Oh, and if two corvettes touch each other while one is force charged, they both explode. But what about interplanetary travel? How did that go? Well, it might have been hard to notice, but my trajectory abruptly averted when I went between the two planets. Well, we're not exactly sure why this happens. I actually expected just to pass through it. It's a little strange. The game quickly began to fall apart during this period, however, and not just from what I was seeing. HKS, who was streaming, witnessed JD perform a miracle. Normally, if you go a certain distance past people, you kind of leave their phase, much less leaving planets, which are instanced objects. But it kind of looked like it was trying to keep me in their phase for some reason. Well, this seemed to cause some very strange issues on the other side, where the other two players were. The implications of this are enormous. Just the mere act of me going into this strange state caused JD's ship to land in the air. Meanwhile, I entered what appeared to be fairly stable orbit, unable to fall or drift or do much of anything. Apparently, it is possible to completely leave the atmosphere of the planet and enter outer space, in which the game breaks in other ways. But both the other players decided to fall asleep at this point, leaving me to pursue another odd discovery.
The carrier is getting away from you.
JD had an odd interaction when returning to her carrier to reload. Somehow, she had dropped out 20 kilometers away from the carrier, and it was supposedly moving away from her so fast she couldn't catch up to it even with boost. This hinted at another strange interaction of science, which leads us to the final chapter of this particular presentation. JD's carrier had landed within the orbital ring of the moon of these two balls. That moon had an 8-hour rotation. Unfortunately, when we went to JD's carrier to inspect, we didn't encounter the strange bug that she encountered, and the moon was moving away from it. However, I patiently waited the 8 hours for its orbit to return, where surely many interesting things would occur. And by waited, I mean I had a nap. I expected the moon simply to pass through the carrier and the various NPC ships without incident. I was actually quite surprised to see just how fucked things got. First of all, as the planet started approaching, I was recording to just have it running. Meanwhile, the NPC ships are suddenly and mysteriously flung away by the power of the Holy Spirit, never to be seen again. What is even more peculiar is that this strange effect started emitting from the bridge of JD's carrier, as though the spirit of the Australian disease was being exorcised by the Holy Word. I attempted to get close to this, but much like Sodom and Gomorrah, I was not able to lay eyes upon the sins being cast out. So I waited for the moon to come, and it did. When the cocaine ball got close to the carrier, it shoved the camera back into it. Weird collision began to occur, and then it passed over like silent, white, sticky death. Only I did not die, and I was not flung into the abyss like the NPCs were. Trapped inside the gigantic testiculus, with only marmalade to sustain myself, there was one final thing to do, and that is dislodge myself from this mortal coil and escape the confines of JD's carrier. What would happen? Would I be trapped inside the cocaine ball? No, I would get teleported outside of it within just a few meters of the surface at 0 speed. The carrier remained close enough that I could just jump into hyperspace and then attempt to jump back into it, but each time I tried to do this, it would bring me right back to the surface of the cocaine ball again. The carrier was forever lost in sight, consumed, and smoked. At least until it emerged out the poop chute and the rotation began anew. Surely to confuse and confound anyone else who had the misfortune of being in its path. I really like the untextured gas giant. By the way, if you're going to do something like this, it's probably best not to do it in a plipper. Finding landing spots on either of the goon balls for this expedition was incredibly difficult, and even with a basic shield, I often suffered a lot of damage during mishaps. Sometimes I could take up to 10 minutes to find a place I could land the fucking thing. And even then, well, one of the legs is floating in the air. The other leg is also floating in the air. That one's floating in the air, just not as much. Good lord, this planet is so rough. It's like a cat's tongue. That one is at least partly connected to the ground.
Oh, this is a bad idea.
Now, what would you be doing? I'm in my safe space. Nothing bad can happen here. No, sir. Well, on my end, you are violently jostling back and forth. On your stream, you are violently twitching. I'm not seeing that, no.
It gets violent.
Okay. On your stream, it's jostling so much.
Accelerated shield regeneration.
Oh.
Oh, you're twitchy as shit. Holy hell.
What happened?
Nothing.
Why did I take so much damage from that? Something you want to tell the class? Why my canopy's broken? I got to the carrier and then I exploded. Huh? 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 The cat senses are tingling. Yes! There are some really incredible shadows going on in this planet. Suck? Suck? Surely you can land on me.
Target destroyed.
Never mind, you died.